My baby mama, she got bed bugs. My baby mama, oh yeah, she got bed bugs. What's up everybody? On today's video, we're gonna be comparing the state of Alabama and the state of Mississippi to see which one of these bed bug infested states is the worst. And I am Jose Rodriguez. Welcome to Southern Life. We're going to be as respectful as possible, and just to make things fair for both of these unfair states, we're not going to see which state is the most racist. We're just going to assume that they're both equally evil, hateful, and racist. Because if the debate becomes about which state is more evil, backwards, inbreeding, bedbug infected, and defecated, then we would have arguments that are very good on both sides. When it comes to giving the world talents and great people, by far, Mississippi wins.
This your girl Harry. Don't be talking about the gun. You know that my hood, dog.
Louisiana has the better blues out of all states in the South. Means Mississippi and Alabama don't even stand a chance. Alabama, however, has the best football team that's ever existed. So who is from Mississippi? Well, let me tell you, the state of Mississippi has given birth to some incredible people like Oprah Winfrey, Rick Ross, Jimmy Buffett. You mean Britney Spears?
No, what I said? I said pretty pair.
Elvis Presley.
Dang Cuban.
You're thinking about JFK. That's not even the right state, buddy. Leanne Rimes.
Got that Ray J down there.
The Magnolia State has really given us some incredible people. On the other hand, Alabama, you got your girl Ivy, Dobie, Willy Wonka, the Three Stooges, couple Grand Wizards, Honeycomb Brazy, Young Blue. Sadly, Alabama has not produced any good country singers. I can't think of a good country singer that's from Alabama at all. I mean, I can't think of any, but like when I think about country music, nothing from Alabama comes to mind. However, right next to Alabama, you got Alan Jackson, not too far, but that's in Georgia, but it's still close to Alabama. I can't even think of a good country singer from Alabama.
Boy, what the heck about the Hank William down there? Junior too, man. Yeah, I heard that there. Cause I was a lonely Indian there with no daddy underwear to pay the way to pay.
No, man, I ain't got no idea what you're talking about.
Pack of tobacco down the door and the cancer can't survive.
You mean Country Boy Can't Survive. That's by Hank Williams. Really, I never heard of this guy, but this stupid hick from Alabama thinks this guy's famous.
Hey, what you about that? Know about that Lake Kenny down there talking about we won't Alabama?
Well, let's look it up. Leonard Skinner is actually from Florida. They're not from Alabama. Sorry to bust your bubble, Alabama. Stop stealing our stuff. So let's just drag Leonard Skinner back to Florida, to the city of Jacksonville, where they're actually from, since Alabama stole it. And the song Alabama wasn't even about the state of Alabama. It was about a neighborhood in Lehigh Acres called Alabama. So next time you sing Sweet Home Alabama, they're not talking about the state of Alabama. They're talking about the neighborhood in Lehigh Acres called Alabama. Or at least I want to pretend to believe that so I can listen to this song and not feel all funny inside. But let's just clarify this. Leonard Skinner is not from Alabama. They're from Jacksonville. If you don't believe me, look it up. And while we're here picking up stuff that's ours, that Silverado truck bed right there was reported stolen. So despite the fact that Hank Williams and Hank Williams Jr. are absolute country music legends, I think Mississippi wins in the category of arts and culture simply because Big Walk Dog had a police officer from his town in his music video, and rappers in Alabama just haven't been able to pull it off yet. When it comes to natural disasters, I think both states are cursed. When it comes to education, neither state can read. And when it comes to pollution, Alabama's been importing poop from New York City. When it comes to crime statistics, I wouldn't trust either state's law enforcement to be accurate, but I will say that Alabama is much more corrupt. Mississippi only has one large city that sucks. However, Alabama's got Mobile, Montgomery, Birmingham, and Huntsville. So when it comes to having large cities that suck, Alabama by far wins. Last time I checked, there's not a single Publix in the entire state of Mississippi. Many of the stores and brands that you can find in Alabama and anywhere else in the country are completely absent from the state of Mississippi. So when it comes to dining, shopping, and things to do, Alabama has a lot more going on. And Alabama also has an Appalachian section of mountain ranges. Mississippi doesn't even have too much going for it in the world of nature. So Alabama is a much more beautiful state. It has a lot more things to do. And I think in general, both states are really lacking in amenities, but at least Alabama has some of them. Don't ever disrespect these states by assuming that they're very similar. In some ways they are, but Mississippi and Alabama are really two completely different states. A lot of times people just like to group these two states together, failing to notice that there's some huge differences between these states. Alabama has a unique, complex set of laws and regulations, and I think that's one of the state's biggest weaknesses. Despite having the largest constitution, not only of any state, any government, anything, the Constitution of Alabama is the largest constitution in the world with thousands of amendments. It's a very complicated set of laws and regulations to govern the state of Alabama. Nonetheless, it is vastly ineffective. And the state has very little control over municipalities. A lot of the power is just given to the state. So the state is very powerful, and the municipalities have a lot of control within themselves. But a lot of the things that they're supposed to do are given to the state. And I know it sounds vastly complicated. Ironically, it actually works in the favor of the municipalities that are very effective in carrying out public works. In the case of Mississippi, getting a road paved or having anything like that done is not the same. So here's a state, Alabama, that is so complicated that even the people that are part of government are willing to admit that they could study this document their whole entire lifetime and not be able to even touch or understand what the crap it means. It means that the laws of Alabama, not even the people in Alabama understand it. So here's a bunch of people that can barely even read, and they have the largest constitution in the world. But the good thing is that they're able to actually carry out public work since nobody knows what the crap needs to get done. It eliminates a lot of the yellow tape, and people just go out there and pave roads. In the center of Alabama is Birmingham, and it is a highway hub. So when it comes to infrastructure, Alabama is clearly the winner, and it's closer to Atlanta, which is another highway hub. So when it comes to transportation, Alabama really has a huge advantage. The only real disadvantage that I found about Alabama is that there isn't a highway heading from Montgomery into Florida. And stop typing. I mean like an actual interstate. If there was an interstate to head from Birmingham and Montgomery into the southeast, then that would definitely make Alabama a much better state. I think overall, we all understand that Alabama provides a lot better things to do, better shopping, better outdoor activities, more large cities for you to get shot, stabbed, and be victimized in. Even large cities like Meridian really don't have anything going on. And Governor Ivey has been making huge improvements to the southwest side of Alabama, which was the region that was lacking the most infrastructure. She promised everybody in southwest Alabama a comprehensive improvements in the state's highway system to fulfill her promise to all Alabamians that nobody in the state would be more than 30 minutes away from a Church's Chicken. People in Mississippi are having to complain of having to drive as much as an hour and 12 minutes to get their Church's Chicken. With wait times and drive-thrus in both of these states averaging over 45 minutes, it means it takes the better half of the days just to get Church's Chicken in either one of these states. In fact, if they can get the wait time at drive-thrus at below 30 minutes, it is believed that many people from Mississippi will revolt against their state and their constitution and try to join Alabama. A press release by Governor Ivey of Alabama stated that while the South will rise again, they don't plan to have Mississippi be part of that. Overall, I'm going to have to say that while both of these states are horrible, the vast majority of people would agree that living in Alabama is a much better situation than living in Mississippi, simply because When it comes to day-to-day life, you have access to many of the American comforts you would want. Alabama is a very strict place to live, with law enforcement having a very powerful hand. And with some of the worst prisons in the entire country, you don't want to be caught by that hand. It is illegal in both states. You'll smell more aromas around Jackson, Mississippi than you will in Montgomery or Birmingham, where people are absolutely terrified of being caught with something illegal since the state's law enforcement is strict and since the prison systems are so bad. So it feels like Mississippi is a little bit more of a lawless place. And in both states, it seems like criminals get very desperate to escape law enforcement, since in neither one of these states you want to end up in their prison systems. There is a reason why these two states are very affordable, and that reason you're going to find out perhaps too late. While the affordability may seem attractive, there are underlying reasons why these states are more affordable, and the average American consumer is not a stupid one. When we value a place to be more affordable, there are always underlying reasons. And while it may not be obvious why these states are more affordable, if you make the mistake to move to one of them, you might regret it. I feel that one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about the South is that it's a place of poverty. In my time in Alabama, I did very well economically. People here are not poor. People here are lazy, and they're waiting for everything to be handed to them. They're not go-getters, they're not hustlers. They're just sitting there waiting for a handout. And thus, if you are the type of person that's motivated, you will make money in both of these states. So don't let the perception that if you move to one of these states that you're going to be living in poverty, that is not absolutely true. Both of these states are massively lacking in services. So if you bring a service to the state, especially a rural area where there's less competition, you could actually be a top dog since you won't even have any competition. You think about a place that's needing services, if you bring them to that place, you're going to be successful. The problem isn't going to be having customers. It's really going to be your ability to remain safe in the process, since a lot of people are going to envy the fact that you're an entrepreneur, and at the end of the day, if they're crying, complaining about how they're dying in poverty, and here you come along and you start stacking up bread in the same place, you're putting them out to be very lazy people, and they don't want that. They want to believe the notion that it's a poor place, that there's no opportunities. I can't stress the fact enough that there's so much confusion about the poverty in the South and where it stems from. And it doesn't stem from the fact that there are not opportunities. There's plenty of opportunities in Alabama and Mississippi. And I want you to understand that if you're considering either one of these states, don't buy into there's no opportunities here. Now, if you go work for a church of chicken, of course you're going to starve. But if you are a hustler, you are a go-getter, you have your net worth, and you know how to stack up some money and not draw too much attention in the process, because at the end of the day, in both of these states, there's a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of money ready to move. You have something for sale, somebody's going to buy it. But the culture of the people in both of these states is to pretend like they don't have any money, to look like they're broke, so they can have access to free crap like food stamps and other benefits and disabilities. They're both welfare states with a massive percentage of the population being disabled or receiving government benefits like Section 8 or food stamps. And I have met a lot of people who needed those services and they couldn't get them in other states. And when they moved to Alabama, they were able to get them. I started to resent how I was paying taxes in Alabama and how I could clearly see where that money was going. So if you're looking to have a disability given to you because you were actually disabled and you need a state that's going to make that process a lot easier, then Alabama and Mississippi could definitely be good states for you. But you have to understand they're poor places, and if you're a more affluent person who wants to have services and wants to have all these things accessible, that's not the way these states are designed. I think both states are fairly unwelcoming to outsiders, and while they want to portray like they have Southern hospitality and they're welcoming and they're going to cook you a pie, none of that crap is actually going to happen. What's more likely is that one of your neighbors is going to have ties to law enforcement or other powerful people, and they're going to start to try to impose themselves upon you. If you're moving to these states, you have to be completely under the notion that you have to appear to be a very poor person with nothing that can be taken from you. If you have anything of value like a vehicle or some electronic devices, anything that they can get their hands on, they're going to come forward and take it. So if you know how to play that card right, one of these states could actually be a very good place for you. But me, I'm from Naples, Florida. We got palm trees, beaches, and billionaires that live here. So having a Mercedes-Benz means nothing where I'm from. Spending money on wheels and gold jewelry and whatever the crap you want to do, it's nobody's business because we're from a place where everybody's got money. So if you're from a place like that, then definitely I wouldn't recommend either one of these states because you're going to feel like the people are really just preying on you. So there it is. One of these two states could be good for you. The miserable mindsets of the people there sure as crap did not work for me. Despite the resentment that I have for Alabama for what happened to me in the year that I lived there, I can tell you that it's probably a better place than Mississippi. And now that I know the rules of the game, if I were ever to go back to one of these miserable places, I would be a much more valuable player since now I know the rules of the game. However, that is probably never going to happen. I would rather much tough it out here in Florida where life is expensive, almost impossible at times to be honest, but at least I don't have to worry about my safety. Just being homeless. And by the way, Mississippi has the lowest homelessness rate in the entire country. Of course, that's not a surprise because you can buy a house for like $10,000. And again, why is the house $10,000? Because nobody wants to live in Mississippi. So when they talk about their homelessness rates are less, no crap, who wants to live there? And I want to encourage every hood rat person in Florida who's lazy and wants to leech off the government and other people to explore the possibility of moving to a place that's already designed for that. I can't tell you how many people I meet here in Florida who tell me, oh, I just moved here from New Jersey. How do I apply for Section 8? And I'm looking at them like, yeah, you're in the wrong state for that.